It is time for the one and only, the premier, the only official podcast of Pro Rodeo. Your Chute Bosses are ready, so let's give it a go and talk some rodeo.
Welcome back inside the Thomas & Mack Center here in Las Vegas for the final time in 2024 for a special NFR edition of the Chute Bosses podcast, brought to you by Husky Trailer Parts Company. Tanner Barth, Tim O'Connell. Tim, what a night it was. Round 10 never disappoints here in Las Vegas, and it sure didn't here tonight. We got a lot to work through, so let's start right off the top of this show talking about your specialty, the bareback riding. What a night it was for Dean Thompson.
Thank God for the replay system.
Oh, yeah, he could have missed that mark out.
Could have easily missed that mark out. Thankfully, they have now gone. This sport is evolving to where it needs to be, where it should have been. But thank God we are here right now in the modern era. That call, their job is so hard.
It is.
So
split-second decision.
Split-second decision. That split-second decision was the difference in a world's championship.
It was.
And for them to do the replay, seeing that Dean was posted and messed up the opportunity to mark that animal out, that 88.5, that half point over Rocker Steiner won him the average and won him a world's championship. And it was so close.
It was.
I mean, it was a four-man shootout, and it actually came out to be a shootout format. It was highest score won.
Yep.
He won it by $18,000. And it played a little factor in that he got around Cole Franks in the average. But that half point over Rocker Steiner, this field of bareback riders was so impressive. So impressive. Rocker Steiner finishes second in the world with a buck off.
Yeah.
Completely out of the average. The reigning world champion, Keenan Hayes, he finishes fourth. And Dean Thompson, I just didn't see it coming. And there was parts of this race that I thought, man, Dean is the most aggressive guy. I've said it all week.
I was getting ready to say, yeah, you mentioned it from about round 2. You're like, if there's a guy that's going to go out there and find a win a go-round buckle, it's Dean Thompson because of that aggressive style.
Yeah, and I really thought in round 6 and 7, his aggressive style cost him
a couple of points, yeah.
Huge points, huge race. I really thought in round 6 and 7, man, Dean kind of took himself out of it. And then in round 8, he stomps the eliminator and puts himself back in contention for a chance. And when a world title is on the line, all you need is a chance.
And it's crazy, man.
And
I can't believe it. Honestly, like you said, everyone was thinking Bradley Miller. Everyone was thinking, is it going to be Rocker Steiner? And it's that number 3 hole that comes into tonight as number 3. It finds a way. And you said that average was going to make a difference. And him jumping Cole Franks changed it.
It did. And, to be honest with you, I predicted 590s tonight.
Yeah.
I did. The matchups were so spectacular, but these guys left it all on the table. And you've seen it because in a regular season, if this pen of horses matches up with these 15 guys and they have a couple days just to recover, we're going to see 590. You've seen the wear and tear.
You did.
You've seen everything laid out on the table. These guys gave their blood, sweat, and tears to put on a show. We didn't see the 590s that I predicted on paper, but we seen one. And, man, that was so spectacular. And, as it shook out, I was like, man, this is really starting to favor Rocker Steiner. Him having Stevie Nicks, Stevie is not the Stevie of the past. She is starting to lose a step, and she's starting to get harder as her timeline in rodeo has progressed. She's starting to figure out, I can command the ride.
Yeah.
I haven't seen someone spur Stevie Nicks like Rocker Steiner has in years. When I was 94, I did not spur Stevie Nicks like Rocker Steiner did.
Yeah.
He put everything out on the line tonight and did his very best. But Dean Thompson did his very best too for 10 straight nights, was perfect. He won the average, he won the world, he runs the table. I said from the beginning, I was interested to see after a very, very tough first NFR how he would rebound and come back.
Yep.
I didn't see this coming, but he did. He put the work in. He was the most aggressive, and he is your world's champion.
Gotta love it. Gotta love it. Let's move on and talk a little bit about steer wrestling. Interesting shakeup as well. A lot of people have thought, is it going to be Rowdy Parrott? Is it going to be Will Loomis? At the end of round 10, it is the man from Milan, Minnesota, J.D. Struxness, that comes in, gets the job done, and how he was able to slide back into this title contention, Tim, came because he slid into that 8-hole in the average, $8,000. He ends up beating Will Loomis by 5 to win the world title here in Las Vegas.
Brings it back to the Midwest. I hate that for Will Loomis. I love it for J.D. Struxness.
Yeah.
I mean, big Will Loomis, my hat's off to you. I mean, it's a heartbreaker again for Will Loomis.
Yeah.
But J.D. Struxness would not be denied. He would not.
He wouldn't go away in these late rounds.
He wouldn't. And he missed that steer in the early.
Yeah.
We seen multiple races where you had the mulligan, Rocker Steiner, J.D. Struxness. We'll go move on in a little bit and talk about right or right.
You got me right there.
I mean, we're gonna talk about this in a minute.
Yeah.
But if it's gonna happen, it has to happen early. Because then you got to shift all mentality. I got to go after everything.
Yeah.
I can't get in there. Like, I got to let other people make mistakes. And if I get back in the average, great. But I can't use the average. The average is gone.
Yep.
So you got to think about that. I got to go after every round. I got to have to go after all the go-round money. And if it works out in my favor, I'll get that average check. You have to press. And when you start pressing, other people make mistakes.
Yeah. Well, they say diamonds are made of pressure, Tim.
It is.
And J.D. Struxness proved that.
This whole round 10, I've been in, I'm going to go back to the bareback ride.
Yeah.
I've been in world title races where I have dominated. I've been in world title races where the 10th round mattered. And I've been in a world title race where, the other one was like, I pretty much just had to do my job.
Yeah.
And then I've been in one where you have to do your job to the best of your ability. And every race tonight it's a shootout.
Yeah.
I have never in my whole career, and even as a little kid, seen a round 10 in a shootout in every event. It was, sports fans, this is what you pay for. This is exactly what you want. You want game 7, and you want 2 seconds on the clock, and it's tied up. Who's going to make the shot right here?
And one team that did make the shot, show off a little bit of championship mentality. We move on to the team roping. They knew what they needed to do. A couple of teams in front of them had unfortunate runs, and once again for the second straight year, it's Tyler Wade and Wesley Thorpe walking this thing off in round number 10 to win the world championship. And sometimes it does coming down to championship mentality, but also experience in those situations. And knowing round 10, we're going to go put it together and we're going to win a world title.
Yeah. You hate it for Coleman Proctor.
You do, and it's tough because his miss also ended up costing him the all-around title as well.
Yeah, and we'll get to that in a second. You hate it for Coleman Proctor. You love it for Wesley Thorpe and T. Wade.
Yeah.
I mean, they had to go put it out there.
They did.
They were the front runners 10 days ago and 8 days ago, and then things fell apart. But like you said, when the pressure comes, champions and diamonds are made. They went out there, they got it done when it counted the most. When a gold buckle is on the line, the world champions showed up and got it done.
Yeah, that's now Wesley Thorpe's third gold buckle, Tyler Wade's second. They found a way. We mentioned we'll talk about that all-around race here in just a little bit, Tim. But let's go to the saddle bronc riding, where it proved another check that you don't have to necessarily win the average or be a high placer in the average to win a world title. We talked about it. I think it was probably round 3. You said, do not let Ryder Wright get hot. The kid gets hot, wins $480,000, and he's your world champion in the saddle bronc riding.
Could you imagine if he had the average?
Yeah, any sort of major average check, yeah.
Yeah. That Wright family are freaks. Yeah. I don't know what is in the water in Utah for bronc riders in the blue shirts, but man, what a show Ryder Wright went and put on this week. But I really think, going back to round 2, when he said, I messed up,
yeah,
he took all responsibility on himself. That's a champion.
It is.
That's a champion that said, I control my body at all given times, and I made the mistake, and I know how to learn from it. And obviously, he's a world champion already. But he said to himself, I control everything on the back of these horses. From here on out, I won't make that mistake again. And man, did he not.
Yeah.
I mean, you want to talk about 9 beautiful rides at the National. And it was a beautiful ride when he missed the mark out, too.
Yeah. Well, he placed in every round after that point.
Yeah, I mean, and he was more than likely going to place in that round, too.
He was, yeah.
But that's our rules, and that's the one thing that I said when I was winning world titles, and still to this day, I control everything that can happen. I control the outcome of me and this horse. I can't control the horse, I can't control the judges, but I can control my body on the back of these horses. When someone is living in the idea of, I'm going to take all responsibility for my actions on the back of these horses, that's a champion. You judge it how you want. You see it how you want. That man said, I'm going to go climb Mount Everest, and I'll be at the top before anybody, even if I give him a big head start.
You're exactly right, and he got the job done there. Went on to place in the 9 out of the 10 rounds, and just really started riding free and showing us that rider ride of the old when he was winning world titles. He's back, another world champion.
Who do you think rode more? Do you think Ryder rode more or Stetson?
Stetson's got to be exhausted, I'm telling you, with having Statler in the field too.
I mean,
he's up there whipping.
Lift.
And I'm excited to see Stetson back in the field. We'll get all these right, boys, hopefully to the NFR here next year. But let's move on and talk about the tie-down roping. This is the one coming into the night, Tim, where I had circled as this is Riley Webb's title to lose. And he goes out there, makes a clean run. He's going to win the average. He's going to win the world title in dominating fashion. And how about the kid from Denton, Texas? Wins the world title a year ago, comes out this year, says, you know what, I'm not going to be the regular season money earner winner. That's going to be Shad Mayfield. But I'm going to Vegas to put on a show, and did that kid put on a show and proved, hey, I'm going to be here and I'm here to stay.
Talk about, out of all the races, all of our world champions tonight, a perfectly executed plan.
Beautiful. Yep.
Beautiful. He went from, I'm going to be the hunter, and I'm going to hunt down Shad Mayfield. And then, once he had him hunted down and built a lead, okay, I'll be the hunted. Make him come press me.
Yep.
I'm gonna go rope. I'm gonna go catch. I'm gonna be clean. I'm gonna do everything that makes you at some point take a chance. And in round 9, Shad had to take the chance, and he misses on his first loop, gets him tied down, and basically Riley Webb walks a world title home tonight. That is coming into Las Vegas with a plan in mind and executing it perfectly.
And the thing you talk about with that, Riley Webb, we mentioned that last year, he had to come in here. He's the guy that come in with the big lead. And who was on his heels the entire time? Haven Medjid. But he never once made a mistake.
No,
at this NFR, he got his early round wins and then never once made a mistake. Just cool, calm, and collected.
You want to talk about an asterisk last year from the whole Houston deal? You ain't got nothing.
No.
Take that asterisk, put an exclamation point on it. Riley Webb, back to back. And I'm telling you what, that
Kid
boy's
could go
young.
on a run. Yeah.
He could go on a run that we have never seen before in the PRCA. That boy can rope smooth out.
And he will continue to be good, I guarantee you that. Let's move on and talk about a great story in the barrel racing. It was back and forth. Haley Kinsel wins the first 3 rounds. Cassie Mowry comes out, wins the next 5 rounds, Then we come down to round number 9. Mowry hits a barrel, knocks it down. We're back neck and neck. Haley Kinsel back to being your projected winner. It all came down to round 10. A horse race, as you have said so many times, Tim. Cassie Mowry and Jarvis win the horse race tonight. Haley Kinsel went to her horse, J-Lo, here in round number 10.
A surprise to me, honestly. Yeah. We don't know the backstory of why she switched to J-Lo, but obviously that's a horsewoman. She is never going to put sister in a position that could ever hurt her.
And she had ran her 9 straight nights, and maybe she just said, hey, there's some warning signs here that I don't need to be on sister here tonight in round 10.
Yeah.
This horse means too much to Haley Kinsel.
Out of all the events, not to take anything away, the barrel racing is the most exciting event.
It was crazy, man.
It was crazy. I mean, hats off to Cassie Mowry, to Haley Kinsel, and I am
Shelly Morgan for winning that round. Is that what you're talking about?
Bugsby.
Oh, Andrea. Sorry. Yeah.
Andrea. I'm so sorry, Andrea. I am obviously a bareback rider that I'm sorry for not knowing your first name, but I know it now.
Yep. It breaks the record in the average.
Breaks the record, and that's what I want to talk about first and foremost before we go to the World's Championship. The best woman ever to run at the national finals on 10 head. 10 rounds, you're perfect. You have crushed everything that anybody has ever done in this arena in 10 rounds. You need your props because that is this. Out of all of the Charmaine James, the Haley Kinsels, the Cassie Mowrys, the Sherry Cervies, you had to beat them all on 10 runs. And kudos to you for shattering what women barrel racing has ever done in this arena. You need your props first and foremost. For the World's Championship.
Let me go before we move on to that. She was on Benny tonight. Benny was the horse that carried Brittany Posey Tanazi to the World Championship last year. So that horse is a stud. But yeah, let's continue on and talk about that.
And the fan in me wishes sister would run just to see.
Yeah.
Just to see how it would go. But she obviously knew something was off.
She did.
And that's a true champion in my opinion. I'm not going to put sister in jeopardy and
for a world title.
A world
and I
title.
Respect the heck
you know how tough that would be? That would be like me changing Riggins when I knew I just won 9 rounds in a row. Like, I'm going to try something new here. Even though it's J-Lo, she's never hit a barrel in this arena. It's still tough. And kudos to Haley Kinsel for doing what she did out here. 4-round wins. And these two women, they really put on a show. And Cassie Mowry, way to never give up.
Exactly.
Because I feel like after round 3, it was over. In my mind, like,
yeah, we were like, Haley's rolling. Cassie just hit a barrel. Like, it was hers to lose at that point.
Yeah, like
things changed though quickly.
So quick. And man, way to change the dynamic. You know how hard that for me, I even know as a competitor out here, it would be very tough after watching someone build a $101,000 lead over the number 2 girl in the world, and then all of a sudden start building. You win a round, that's great. You win 2 rounds, that's great. 3 rounds, we just leveled the playing field. 4 rounds,
whoa,
and then 5 rounds.
Yeah,
it was crazy.
And then to hit a barrel last night and not let it get in your head and come back and win the world title the next night.
Like, hey, 10th round, Jarvis, go do your thing. Like, that just shows why she is considered the greatest horsewoman in the game today.
And we can't not talk about Jarvis, only 6 years old.
Oh, my goodness.
That horse is going to be running for a while here, Tim.
I cannot wait to watch those 2 women get into it next year. And everybody else come with it.
It's going to be so much fun. Let's move on and talk about our final event here before we wrap up talking about the all-around race, and that is the bull riding race. This one was nearly over a night ago. There was an outside chance that if Cooper James would be the only guy to ride and win $108,000 and finish second the average, that he could have won the world title. Scratch that. We do have only one guy ride. That's Hayes Wade. He wins $108,000, but it was not enough. Josh Frost, after so many years, Tim, we talked about it. Second in 2021. Second in 2022, second in 2023, Josh Frost at the top of the mountain, your world champion in 2024.
So deserving, and hats off to Cooper James.
Exactly, had a great NFR, young
great
kid,
NFR.
First NFR.
I didn't think for a second the stars could line up that perfectly, and then all of a sudden, they were starting to come together.
Off, yeah.
And I was like, oh my goodness, this is real. And then Hayes Wade rides a bull, it's over. But the effort Cooper James put out tonight, he was bucked off 4 times in that 6 seconds that he rode that bull. The gritty effort will do anything. That man is going to be a real issue for years to come. But it is Josh Frost's time.
Time for him to get his flowers.
Yeah. Man. Here's the thing, what I think about Josh Frost. We talk about he's a runner-up 3 different times. He made those guys better. He made Sage Kimsey better. He made Kai Hamilton better. He made Stetson Wright better because they had Josh Frost on his heels. And if they faltered, Josh would have taken it from them.
Yep.
it is so well deserving that the Frost family has another world's champion.
And you can guarantee you that Lane's up there with a big smile on his face, and he found a way to get the job done. We actually had a chance to sit down with Josh. So we're going to go to our Husky Trailer Parts Company round-winning interview. Then we come back, we'll wrap this thing up and talk about the all-around race. We're back right after this on the Chute Bosses.
Have you been searching for trailer parts? Check out HuskyTrailers.com for their huge selection of in-stock trailer parts. From axle kits to lighting, wheels and brakes to suspension, we have it all covered. For 62 years, Husky's been keeping their customers traveling down the road safely. Shop online at HuskyTrailers.com and use code NFR24 for 10% off. That's HuskyTrailers.com, where everything ships for free. Husky's proud to be an official partner of PRCA and the NFR. Husky Trailer Parts, generations of trust delivered.
It's about darn time. Your 2024 PRCA World Champion bull rider, none other than Josh Frost. Josh, you've worked so hard for this. You mentioned earlier on you've been at NFRs where you've bucked off all 10. You've been trying to improve and improve. 3 straight years you finished second in the world standings. You're a world champion. How's it finally feel, man?
Oh, it feels amazing. All the hard work's paid off. We've spent lots of hours in the practice pen, lots of hours in the gym, lots of hours. I got a great group of family behind me that are all, my older brother's a bull rider. And he, one of my main coaches, my dad, my little brother, we've been pounding our head against the wall, figuring out what it takes, even when it's hard to say when you're the reserve world champion, what you need to do to get better, but that's something that I think is one of my strengths, is being able to figure out, where I messed up and how to improve my bull riding. And so we've spent lots, especially rolling into this finals, I was fighting a couple injuries with the shoulder being hurt, and normally my go-to is just get on a bunch of practice bulls, but we've been lots of hours at the arena riding horse bareback, barrel drills. Had a great team behind me for the physical therapy, and work with Champion Living for my training. And body felt great, mind felt great, and like I said, hard work pays off.
You obviously captured another NFR average title. How important do you think that is to find a way to win the world championship, being the most consistent guy in Vegas over 10 days?
Oh, it's, coming in here when it's a tight race like it was this year, or even any year, that it's the second best buckle in the world, but at the same time, it's as big of an accomplishment as you can do to win the average here at the finals. You've got the best 15 guys in the world against the best bulls going head-to-head 10 nights in a row, and to be able to come on top with the average is, it's a pretty impressive feat for anybody to accomplish.
Does it feel as good as you could have imagined?
Oh yeah, it's, you obviously would have loved to top it off by riding that last bull, but I feel like I left everything out there on the table this year, and we came into this finals with a very specific game plan, and I've been here and set a goal to ride 10 bulls, and then you buck off one, and all of a sudden you start panicking a little bit, and I give myself a little room for error, knowing that you're going to have some funny stuff happen. And to be honest, the goal coming in here was to ride 7 out of 10, and that we nailed that goal and we won the world. So, how
much is it going to mean to you when you get to hug your wife and your brand new child as a world champion?
I'm super excited. I was planning on riding that bull for 90, and she was kind of sitting low. I was going to run up there and try to give her a kiss, but when we hit the ground, they were already snagging me, pulling me out for the average interview. But that's what I'm looking forward the most to.
Well, Josh, been a lot of years in the making, man. Congratulations.
Thank you.
There it is, Josh Frost, your 2024 PRCA World Champion bull rider.
Cowboying is in our blood. Cowboying is in our bruises. It's in our rain-soaked jackets. In our calloused hands, tested by barbed wire and rope, our mud-stained boots to the crown of our resist-all hat. You live out west for even the shortest time, and there's one thing you learn. You can't pretend out here. Resist-all. We live it every day.
And you could tell Josh, he says, I had to work to get to this point. Some people come out, Tim, and they're world champions right away. They have that skills, they have that talent. Josh bucked off all 10 bulls. He was a guy that finished 30th in the world his first couple of years. He fought his way, he continued to battle, and now Josh Frost, you could see it in his eyes, a world champion, and now gets to be up there and take those photos with his brand new baby.
2 things stand out to me about Josh Frost.
Yeah.
One, he wasn't emotional.
No.
He wasn't, because he knew this is my time.
It was right there, man.
It was right there. Yep. It was between the ears. He knew it was my time. The other thing that tells me that is when he sat at home in September.
Mm-hmm.
He said, I can win this World's Championship and let them have the entire last month, which is turning out to be the most important month in rodeo. The Governor's Cup, Mandan, the Extreme Bulls Finals.
Sioux Falls, Puyallup. Yeah, it's
everything.
A ton of money, yeah.
There's a ton of money, to the point where he knew he was probably going to definitely going to relinquish the world number one, but also knew he was going to fall.
He dropped down to fourth.
To the fourth. He was expected to go to fifth.
Yeah.
That's a sign of maturity, but the other thing is, that's the sign of a champion. I'll give you all that ground. I know as long as I rehab, I'm going to win. I'm going to win out here. And it's my time. No one can deny me of my time. That's a winner right there. That's a world champion right there.
And it's awesome. You know, we've now had 4 different bull riding world champions in the last 4 years, which is almost nearly unheard of. Usually somebody goes on a long run, but we go Sage Kimzey, then we go Stetson Wright, then we go obviously Kai Hamilton a year ago and Josh Frost. So it's awesome to see where we're headed with that. Now let's talk about the other race that came down to tonight, and we'll end on this, Tim. The all-around race was a fight to the finish. You mentioned earlier that Coleman Proctor actually had a chance to win the team roping world title on the header side of things, and he misses on his headshot. And that's a tough pill to swallow. And then ultimately, you know, he still had the lead. You know, what would Shad Money Mayfield do in the tie-down rope? And he ends up being your all-around world champion, but he had to catch and he had to stay in the average, and he gets the job done. Tough for Coleman Proctor, good for Shad Mayfield. He's his first time all-around gold buckle.
You hate it for Coleman.
You do. It was tough.
Because I think, too, in Coleman's position in the team roping, he was doing it for his healer.
Yeah. He's trying to get Logan Medlin.
He was trying to get Logan Medlin a world's title. And that is a good man. Mm-hmm. Because he could have went out there and tracked him down and put a clean headshot on him and just walked his way to a header world title and an all-around. Mm-hmm. But that's not Coleman Proctor.
He was trying to win the world for both of them.
He was trying to win the world for both of them. He threw fast, and it just didn't go his way. Mm-hmm. He takes that shot 100 times. He's going to catch it 99 more. He just did not swing his way tonight. And that's how the chips fall in round 10. But my hat is off to you, Coleman Proctor, because you are a selfless human being. Mm-hmm. You put somebody else's chance at a gold buckle before your 2 gold buckles. And that's a true man. And that's a true competitor. And that is a true world's champion in my book. I know the buckles didn't come tonight, but everybody was rooting for you, and our hats are off to you. But good for Shad Money Mayfield. Mm-hmm. It didn't go his way in the tie-down roping, but he hangs on. He does what it takes, and that is a champion in the all-around right there.
Well, and Shad Mayfield, big thing for him was finding a way to stay in the average. He ended up getting an average check, I think he said, for the first time in his career at the NFR, which usually he's a go-round guy. He's trying to go, 6'5", 7, low 7s, and this year he's able to stay in the average. He didn't have those round wins like he usually does. He's dealing with some hip injuries. That's something that kind of hampered him.
That's what I'm saying.
And he also drew some rough calves tonight. It wasn't. He had one early on go straight left on him. He had a couple of tough ones, but give Shad credit. He stayed resilient and wins that all-around world title. And I expect both those guys to be challengers going forward. Obviously, Stetson Wright probably comes back next year and makes a lot of money in both rough stock events. But heck of a season for those two, and really made us wait until the very end.
Yeah, this was the best night I've ever got to be a part of. I mean, like I said, we have never seen every single World's Championship come down to one run,
10,
one ride. And what a night it shaped up to be. What a night of rodeo. Rodeo is in a place that is fantastic. I've always said in my career, I hope rodeo is better when I leave it than when I found it. Rodeo is in a fantastic place. Side note, I'm not done. But it is it's in a special place where it doesn't matter what you do in the regular season as long as you get here. And as long as you have Lady Luck on your side and Viva Las Vegas, gold can strike at any given time.
Well, all world champions that were here in Vegas, excluding the steer roping Cole Patterson, won at least $300,000 on the year. We had 5 of them go over $400,000 on the season. So just kind of shows where rodeo is headed and where this thing can be headed. But Tim, I want to thank you, man. It's been great working with you all week. Hopefully we get a chance to do this again, because I think we've got some good things to talk about headed forward, and we've had a lot of fun here in Vegas, man.
I've had a great time with you. The Chute Bosses podcast, it's been so much fun. Mm-hmm. Side note, I'm 7 days away from cracking my hand around in the rigging. So I'm excited to go back to my side of the arena, but man, I'm thankful to be here. It's been a ton of fun. It's been a ton of fun being a part of the broadcast and being a part of the Chute Boss, and watching this generation of rodeo athletes step up on the biggest stage and give the people what they want. This is what sports fans love.
Can't wait, man. I can't wait to see you back out there. Hopefully before too long we'll have a chance to catch back up with you after a round win at one of these big rodeos, and then we'll maybe even get you on the Chute Bosses and talk a little bit later. But we want to make sure to thank our sponsors here, Husky Trailer Parts Company, for making this all possible. They've been with us. They've made this show possible. Got Tim on here to chat with me. We can't appreciate them enough, as well as Runyon's Fine Furniture for providing us with our set here in Las Vegas. But that's going to wrap it up here from the Thomas and Mack Center in Las Vegas. It puts a bow on the 2024 Wrangler National Finals Rodeo presented by Teton Ridge. We'll take a break here on the Chute Bosses for a couple of weeks, and then we will be back and we'll start talking about that 2025 season. But until then, keep on rodeoing.
He's addicted to danger, ruled by passion and pride. To pain and fear he's no stranger, but his lust needs to be satisfied. Hooked on an 8-second ride.